All right, thank you. That should work. Can you see the podium on there? Can you see the podium?
It's like really tiny.
Yeah, if you like make them a little bigger, I think. Wait, let me.
I mean, it'll be bigger in the recording.
Yeah.
We're good. As long as she
you
can
see
hear.
the if you like move this a little bit.
All right, 15 seconds. 1 hour. Get ready to go.
All right.
Awesome, thank you. And it's for sure recording. Okay, 1 hour. You have 2.5 minutes.
Please accept my position as Samuel Mudd is guilty in his conspiracy of the John Wilkes Booth Lincoln assassination. First of all, he was a liar, and he had met with John Wilkes Booth multiple times before the assassination ever occurred, approximately 2 months. According to Douglas Linder in his article, Dr. Samuel A. Mudd in Famous Trials, published by UMKC School of Law States, when we first asked Dr. Mudd whether 2 strangers had been there, he seemed very much excited and got pale as a sheet of paper and blew about his lips, like a man frightened at something he had once done. Another account of this was numerous witnesses told of John Surratt and other alleged conspirators visiting Mudd's farm, in Surratt's case, dozens of times in the month before the assassination. Mudd lied to investigators when he denied having recognized Booth when he treated his broken leg on April 15, 1865. Booth contained a spur and John Wilkes imprinted on the bottom. A spur is generally known for commanding a horse, and it is implanted on the back of a boot. This must show that he currently had a plan of riding a horse 30 miles to pass all of the other doctors to Samuel Mudd's home and picking up a new horse there. According to Smith Green American Heritage, he knew Mudd. He had spent a good night at the doctor's home about a few months earlier while scouting out the proposed abduction route and had met with him in the Washington Hotel for several hours, drink and talk. The fugitives arrived at Mudd's and around 4 in the morning. Mudd was associated with Booth and did much more for his cause than some generous fellow would do. So I please accept my position for Samuel Mudd being guilty.
Okay, 1 AR. You have 2.5 minutes. Okay, time is starting now.
All right, so now for Samuel. So throughout this case, it still stands that many of the points of the opposition are unclear and have conflicting points between them, according to the court proceedings about proof beyond a reasonable doubt and the preponderance/burden of the evidence. We should already be victorious on the argument of how this debate should flow as if it were a court proceeding, as my opponents failed to challenge a burden of innocence with sufficient of evidence, and also failed to prove their guilty conviction beyond a reasonable doubt. Now moving on. For past presidents, it is common knowledge that George Washington and Thomas Jefferson were elected officials and fathers of our country, and that they can be examples of good slave owners. So this destroyed their entire cross-section question. For Mudd could have been treating the leg for 12 hours. It was 4 a.m. Of course, Booth could have had to sleep as well. That could explain the long stay time. Also, what did Mudd and Booth talk about? Just saying that they met doesn't prove he had collusion with the assassination attempt. There's no impact here. We also gave evidence in cross-ex that the assassination was a last-minute decision. Also, slaves was acceptable at the time, and Mudd was known to have treated slaves well. The moral fact that slavery doesn't automatically make you a bad person still flows through. Also, according to McHale, the entire opponent's case about George Azrod's statement say that this was while his case was still pending appeal. He had no idea that this was actually true or not. And also, we clearly have significant doubt about collusion. And according to Criminal Defense Wiki, it should automatically flow towards our argument if there's doubt. Now, moving on.
For our points, Dr. Mudd's morals were good because he always tried to save any soldier's life. He faced a moral decision on whether to save the lives of his captors who inflicted punishments upon him. As a doctor, he went with the task in a way of helping people. As Samuel Mudd treated his slaves well and expressed kindness to them, he was talked well about by his slaves, showing that he had good virtues and intentions. Since he was not a prisoner of war, he was entitled to be released after taking the right oaths. However, the military violated the Habeas Corpus Act by arresting and giving him a jury trial. He should have been prosecuted by the court of law, but had an unfair trial. Finally, Samuel Mudd was prematurely accused of being a conspirator in Lincoln's assassination because John Wilkes Booth did not predict that his life would break in the field. So there was no reason for Samuel to be recruited by Booth. And for these reasons, and more later, we strongly encourage an affirmative ballot.
Time. Okay, 2NR. Pardon me? 2NR.
Your time is running. You got it, guys.
Okay, you have 2 minutes. Time starting now.
To start with, our fellow teammates and ourselves would like to ask that you find the Dr. Samuel Mudd guilty of being one of the conspirators who played a role in the assassination of President Lincoln. The fact that Samuel Mudd had previously met with and, based on their many meetings at various locations, according to R.J. Norton, sole author of the segment titled Dr. Samuel A. Mudd, published on his website Abraham Lincoln's Assassination, December 29, 1996. Known John Wilkes Booth very well and would have recognized him if he had showed up on his doorstep, which he did on the night of April 15, 1865.
If this confrontation alone would not have been enough to just jog the doctor's memory, that the Booth that was John Wilkes Booth, that Samuel Mudd is so carefully removed while trying to heal Booth, definitely would have. Samuel Mudd was also extremely hospitable to John Wilkes Booth by obviously not turning him in, giving him directions to escape out of the area, and providing him with money. According to the article, His Name is Mudd from the Current Events, published on September 21st, 2001.
Our opponents previously mentioned that sleep may be the reason for the prolonged stay, but how can any father trying to protect his family let even a slight acquaintance stay in his house unsupervised?
Let us end by saying we hope as you review having good morals is not enough evidence to rule Samuel Mudd not guilty. It's not a logical basis statement. There's so much evidence proving against Samuel Mudd, like the Booth, versus just a moral statement. Let us end by saying we hope as you review the presented facts, it can be clearly seen that Samuel Mudd is in fact guilty.
Okay. 2AR. You have 2 minutes. Time starting now.
All right, Judge, please find in our favor that Samuel Mudd was not guilty due to his ethics, morals, and values, and how he was illegally convicted and the conviction was unfounded.
The case shows that since many of the opposite points are unclear and have conflicting cases, it fails to show that Samuel Mudd is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. In a real court case, Samuel Mudd will be proven innocent via the burden of innocence.
Our opponent stated that Samuel Mudd let John Wilkes Booth stay in his house during the night and gave him food, but that's like any normal hospital would do. The hospital would treat a patient at any time, give them food, give them whatever they needed to help them live, and actually John Wilkes Booth did not stay in their actual house. He stayed in the barn away from the family.
Mudd had good morals and was not refuted.
Our reasons were that his ethics and morals, he was simply helping somebody out, because that's his practice, like any job, he would just help out whoever you were doing. My mom was a lawyer, she what you're doing right now.